Hi, this is Becky Ivory, and I promised you the last time we wrote this blog that I would share with you some tips on how to keep your kids safe from childhood sexual abuse. Unfortunately, it is an epidemic in our society. 1 in 5 kids, right? That's 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused by the time they're 18. And it's about time we change that statistic, right? So as adults, what can we do about it? One of the very first things you can do is transparency. Create transparency. And this is going to protect the kids, and it's also going to protect you as adults. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they have recently come up with what we call a too deep leadership rule. And that simply says that whenever you have anybody under 18 with you, whether it's an activity or you're teaching a lesson at church or you're giving kids rides home from activities, that there needs to be 2 adults at all situations. Now, some people might give some pushback on that and say, well, what if I have to cancel my activity because my partner just got sick? There's lots of kids here. What's going to happen? Maybe somebody else said, well, how am I going to give the kids a ride home? At the end, there's always going to be me and 1 kid left. These rules were put in place because there's a need for them. So I highly suggest that you cancel the activity and do it another day, or you call the parents and ask them to come pick up their kids. But following that rule whenever you possibly can in situations like church and other situations, that you have 2 leaders available at all times. Now, there's going to be a lot of situations where that's not realistic, right? Now, church, you can always do that. But when I was a teacher in junior high, I had 300 students a day, and I was going to be the only adult in that room almost all the time. So I had some policies in place to help make sure that my students never had to be paranoid about me. I didn't have to be paranoid about them. We could just have a good, healthy relationship with good boundaries. If a student needed to come into my class after school to take a test or ask a question and they were alone, I simply just propped the door of my classroom all the way open so that anybody walking by could see what was going on. Teachers who have windows in their doors, I know it's a common practice to cover those with paper so that you don't get distractions from outside. Open those windows up. Let there be transparency. Make sure that there never looks like there's a time when you are hiding what is going on inside your classroom. Also, people who are communicating with your children, if they have coaches, music teachers, any sort of teacher or someone in authority over them, you should be getting the same communications that your children are. If they're sending texts to your kids, make sure you're on that group text. If they're sending emails to your kids, make sure you're on those email lists. There's no reason why any of those adults have to communicate directly with your student without your knowledge. So that's a good way that you can make sure that you have transparency. Another thing is, don't let your kids get rides home. Okay, a teacher has no business giving your kid a ride home, no matter how nice they are. If they want to be nice, they can escort your child to the front office where they can make a phone call. I personally would rather pay for an Uber for my child to come home from school if I had to, than to have them be used to thinking that it's okay for teachers to give them a ride home. So there are some simple things you can follow. If you start there, I promise I'm going to give you a few more over the next coming weeks that will help keep them safe on the outside. And then we're really going to dive into what are the leadership skills, what are the inside values and understandings that your children need to have that will really go a long way to keeping them safe. So have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon. Stay safe.